The next wave of business leaders won't just use AI, they'll master momentum with it, starting now. Welcome to the Mastering AI Momentum Show, where visionary founders and driven business leaders turn artificial intelligence, automation, and scalable systems into real growth, real scale, and real freedom. If you're ready to break bottlenecks, reclaim your title, and scale smarter, this is your playbook. Let's dive in. Here are your hosts, Allie Porter and Elise Smith.
Welcome everyone to the Mastering AI Momentum Show. My name is Elise Smith, your AI business strategist at Millionaire Momentum AI Agency, where we help founders build freedom into their business with AI systems that replace chaos with clarity. And our guest today helps you find freedom in the numbers, turning what feels like fixed business costs into strategic assets. So Ali, welcome. We are so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation and your time.
Of course. So I'm thrilled to welcome Ali Cannon, founder of AEN Sell My Bills. Ali's expertise lies in uncovering hidden financial waste and monetizing your expense data, auditing bills, renegotiating contracts, and reclaiming money that's already left in your bank account. Over time, Ali has helped clients recover thousands of dollars in unnecessary expenses, creating breathing room in finances that many didn't even realize existed, which is super exciting. Like, I don't know, you've got to be on your edge of your seat right now after hearing this, because I'm sure everyone wants to save money on their bills and monetize their expense data, because he sees inefficiency as opportunity. And today we'll dig into how you can apply that same mindset to your business to unlock cash, reallocate resources, and accelerate momentum. So here's the question: how many dollars are leaking in your business right now unnoticed, and how fast could you redeploy them into growth if you caught them? So Ali, thank you so much for being here today. In your own words, tell us what your company does and why you got started with it.
Absolutely. Our business deals with an innovation which allows consumers and businesses to monetize the data that comes from their expenses. For households, it means everyday bills. Those bills being rent, mortgage, electricity, utilities, groceries, even childcare, and automobile care. For businesses, it is any expense that it costs to run your business. How we're able to do this is because simply money has changed. Money is no longer physical fiat, it is now digital. You hear a lot about cryptocurrencies, ETFs, other exotic alternative assets which are being pushed into the mainstream. But the main point that should be noticed is that the new oil is data. And the bridge point for everyone to benefit from what is coming, including AI and other innovations which are restructuring the economy and the financial system, is ownership of that data. What our system does is it allows consumers and businesses to own their data, monetize it, and then redirect that capital toward other expenses. An example of what we do would be when you go to Walmart and you go in there, you grab your box of cornflakes, you take it up to the cashier, it's half empty, that's hidden inflation. You pay your $7 and leave, that is an A to B transaction. But the minute you pull out a debit card, credit card, or digital payment system, that becomes a transaction which creates three streams of revenue. Those three streams of revenue are: one is Walmart, they get paid for the cornflakes. Number two is the payment processor, whoever scans the card. And number three, the financial institution, which is underwriting the entire process. The consumer does not get any part of that transaction, although the consumer is the initiator of that product. So those three revenue streams come from the consumer's activity. If they use cash, there is no residual revenue stream or alternate revenue streams. And those revenue streams will be in the form of service fees. What we do is we give the consumer access to that data value. So now your data becomes an asset for you. As far as for businesses, everyone knows the current economic climate is a tsunami of inflation, which is hitting the private sector in the form of small businesses, as well as the Main Street economy, which is everyone else. This system allows us to give you the tools to take the oil, which is your data, so that you can turn it into additional revenue streams and increase your bottom line.
That is so fascinating. So, when you say your data, does that mean that you just talked about how there's three different entities that are, making money off of every time you swipe your card, which sometimes I'm not even sure we realize that when we swipe that card, right? But are you saying that we, as the consumer or the business that's using that card, can get money like those fees back? Or what do you mean when you talk about data?
What I mean by data is every time you use a computer, a laptop, handheld, or tablet, you're creating data. So that is any entry that you make. And that is how the analytics systems of the website that you go onto, they take that data and they monetize it. One way that they monetize it is through ads. Another way is by supplying that data to institutions and governments. Well, that data that you generate is worth money. That is the same data that has made Facebook $1 trillion operation, Microsoft $1 trillion operation, or Google $1 trillion operation. Now, the great opportunity of our time is to convert that data into an asset that everyone can use. So you're already creating the data. Your bills themselves, when they're digitized, they become data. So that means the value does not come back to you as a rebate or a discount. It comes to you as proactive value because you initiate it. Think of yourself as the factory of your own data. Every day you create it. As AI and other augmented forms of technology move forward, we as consumers and the public at large have to find ways that we can utilize this system, not just for information purposes, but for exponential growth. And the number one part of that is turning that asset into the number one company that you interact with every day. And that is the company of you, your household. And this system allows you to access that value. So every time you make a digital payment, companies have to make a payment to accept that. And that when you go to Walmart, you don't pay an extra service fee. Walmart pays the payment processor. The payment processor then pays the financial institution. That means that there is value there, that if you could access it before those transactions happen, that could serve as a personal stimulus that you could use on demand because it is your product.
That is fascinating. So how do you help people to do that? What does your service look like?
Our service on the consumer side looks as simple as an expense account. We give copay expense accounts for consumers to help them pay their bills. When they use the expense account, that is when they monetize their data. AEN is a private membership network. It is a payment assistance platform that allows us to help each other. I am a believer. I believe in the Bible. I believe in the scripture of the Bible. The inspiration for this system is under Luke 16, the shrewd stewards. So we as a country are in a position with a $37 trillion deficit where we must become shrewd stewards. And I mean that as every individual. And that means that we must look at our income. We must look at our budgets. We must at any additional discretionary income that we can access. And some even have resorted to side hustles. So what we want to do is put the tools in people's hands so that when they use our expense accounts, they function like a healthcare copay. When they join, they will receive notifications from us by email when they can use their expense accounts. At that time, they tell us the bills that they're going to pay. We don't need any personal information because this is a supplement benefit that works with credit unions. So we align with credit union partners. We send our members to credit unions, and then we assign a digital expense account to them. When they receive the notification by email, they tell us their bills. They load the expense into the credit union. They wait for 1 week, and then we give them a 20% copay to help them pay their bills. Now, this is important because it is not a rebate or cash reward system. This is you accessing your data. Now, our system runs with a series of 10 algorithms and 10 sub-equations which expand or contract according to your spending pattern. And that is so that we can access the data as you use it in real time. Now, when you deal with a rebate, you have to spend money first to get that back. But what they don't tell you is that that money is already on the books. It's waiting for the transaction. What our system does is it allows the transaction to happen before the purchase. Now, an example of that would be before when you use the cash or when you were paid in a cash check, you take that, you cash it at a bank, and then you go and you spend your money wherever you'd want. Now, with the advent of a paperless, cashless system, which we're being moved into, that means that the purchase, which normally before would be after the transaction where you would give the cash and then you would get the item and walk out of the store, now the transaction has been moved to the back end. Whereas when you run your card, that there is a hold period where the bank talks to the institutions and says, this money is good to be authorized. That is how you get overdrafts. What our system does is it moves the transaction back to the front. So that means instead of exchanging cash, you are accessing the data that they would use to clear the transaction for you on the back end. That means that you get your result up front. It takes a week to do this because we match your transactions with online rebates, discounts, and coupons that produce your 20%. After that time, you receive that 20% as a copay, similar to a healthcare copay. But instead of giving this to an institution that you're paying, we give that copay to you and then you pay your bill.
Wow. That is just so fascinating. How did you get started with this?
Well, as I said, I'm a man of faith, and I believe that everyone is moved to the positions that they need to be in life in order to contribute. Now it's up to you whether you do it or not. I know you're familiar with the story of Jonah. He didn't want to do what he was supposed to do, so he left. But when he left, he arrived at the place he was supposed to faster than if he had went on land. So I consider myself as well as other believers to be in that same pulpit, if you will, where we all have ministries, and that ministry is connected to the tools and the abilities that you're blessed with. And this is one that I have. I have certifications for business administration, business management. I specialize in digital and electronic transactions. I have certifications from Ashland University and Hawking College. And I was able to expand and further my education working alongside with faith-based organizations and nonprofits. Currently, we are in collaboration with a major municipality for them to use this platform to give nonprofits the ability to give people that come to them for help, their clients, expense accounts to help them pay their bills. There is a nonprofit in the Franklin County area that would help people when they come to them for electricity purposes or water purposes. They say, "Well, I have a shut off notice." They would pay that just like a church with their benevolent fund. What they will use our service for is once they help them pay the bill, they will enroll them into our program and give them an expense account so that they do not fall behind in their bills again.
Wow. That is so interesting. And I love that you bring that faith aspect. In fact, can you tell our audience what AEN stands for?
AEN stands for Abundance Economic Network. And the word abundance, the reason why that is there is because of what the teacher, Jesus, said. He said, I've come so they'd have life and have it more abundantly. And that is the reason for the name of it. And also because as shrewd stewards, we become uh, doers of miracles. When people need help, we can give that to them. Just like with the shrewd steward, he was called to account to be audited, and he said, "What can I do, to get out of this predicament?" He's going to be fired. He said, "I'm too old to dig, and I'm too old to dig. I'm too proud to beg." And he thought, "Let me bring the people that owe my boss, my master, together and find out how much they owe." And then he took from his own resources and helped them pay that bill. That, in essence, is what AEN does. AEN allows us to sponsor and help other people. On the website, our motto is building wealth, helping others. This is how you do so by helping someone else monetize their data as a sponsor. You are helping them with that assistance, and you're building wealth in the process. As you know, with the story of the miners, those people were given, three people were given resources. And the master said, when I come back, show me what you did with it. Well, this is a way for us to use the resources that we have in our lives and whatever position we have so we can help each other. Even the people that utilize the system for help with their bills, they also help other people by consolidating their expenses together so that we can leverage that into greater value with the data.
Wow, that is such a cool just value statement that you have for your business, and just where it comes from is so rooted in your heart of service. And so I love that. That's really neat. So let's focus on your business in particular. As you've been able to scale to the heights that you're at right now, what were some of the learning lessons along the way, especially when it comes to process and technology?
Be prepared for a million no's.
Yeah.
The further you are ahead of the curve, the less understanding that the people on a regular basis will have. An example would be Bitcoin has been out since 2007. It didn't have any tax regulations until 2020, 2022. Anyone who would have used Bitcoin before that would have enjoyed the resources that came from it. Even with the volatility, it cannot be argued that it has exponentially grown to be one of the fastest asset classes. Volatile, of course, but it always fails forward. And that is because of the plan for it. Our system will allow us to do miracles on a personal basis for people and allow them to become miracle workers by utilizing what they already have, their bills. One thing that we make on a continuous basis is bills. I believe it was Benjamin Franklin that said there are only two guarantees in life, death and taxes. He forgot one, bills. So this is a way for us to turn water into wine by taking this and making it an asset for each other. As a sponsor, I would be able to go in and help people pay their bills. And as consumers, they would be able to utilize the system and give me access to that service fee value that we call uh, added value rebates. And that is because we don't sell anything. We only give you the tools to utilize what you already have. So we don't have assets. We are not securities. We do not deal with risk. We only deal with the bills as they actually happen. And that becomes more active for us. The more that we move toward a cashless society, that advantage grows for the consumer as long as they can own their data.
How interesting. I love that. So, in thinking about growing your own business, though, what were some of kind of like the pitfalls that you found? I mean, you definitely said all the no's that you get, which is amazing, but any other pitfalls that you found that you were able to overcome in your own business journey?
Uh, Additional pitfalls would just be education. When you're talking to a prospective partner or member or collaborator, you want to be able to bridge that gap in terms that they understand. Now, when you're dealing with the technology which has no precedence, then you have to uh, kind of resort to what the teacher did. You have to use parables and examples that people can use in real life. Bills being one of the things that is, as an adult, it is a universal fact that we have to pay for things as we move along in life. I hear people say high school was one of the best times in their lives because it was free. Well, once you get past the sticker shock, then you realize that life can be whatever you make it be as long as you generate the resources. Now, one of the major pitfalls was waiting for the infrastructure. This technology was actually developed when I wrote a paper at Hawking and was on the dean's list. It was called Digital Domain, and this was back in 1998. And this is before debit cards. But what I had noticed is that with the advent of the internet, the dot coms, there was more activity going on financial wise online, but there was no formal structure for those transactions yet. So what I realized is that in the times to come with more businesses going online, that there will be more competition for those transactions. Since then, we've seen PayPal, we've seen Cash App, we've seen Vimo. Now, these have made it possible for people to make these transactions, but there has not been value creation for the consumer yet. And that is where we've been blessed to come in, but to be able to supply those tools. Another one would be not so much a headwind, but the lack of regulations. So when you're dealing with any innovation, the one thing you want to do is make sure that your terminology and the structure of your system does not fall into any existing pitfalls as far as regulations. You don't want to be called a security if you don't deal with stocks. You don't want to call your instrument a commodity if you actually don't deal with commodities. And in that frame, the challenge was to find the correct terminology and the correct existing structures to make this system work. And I've been blessed to come alongside of partners who had different skill sets than I. We all agree that we're not looking for the heavyweight belt, we're going for the Super Bowl. And when
Mhm.
you do that, everyone has to play their position. So we're actively looking for more people that bring other skill sets to this system that would allow us to create a a value conscious economic system which is structured toward making value for the consumer as opposed to a fiduciary duty which takes the money from the consumer and gives it to private interests.
Hmm. Wow, so fascinating. So, how have you used AI to grow your business recently?
Recently, we have come into partnership with organizations and with some very intelligent undergrads who are looking at how to apply AI from a standpoint of being augmented. So there are actually three types of AI by my definition. One is the one, the older one that everyone knows about is automated AI, automated intelligence, a program that goes in that does one thing. So when you think about that, think about the arm that's on the Chrysler assembly line that just puts in the dashboard. That is one AI. The second AI that everyone is talking about now is artificial intelligence, and the grill for that, they're looking for general intelligence. That is the one where they want people to think, they want the robot to think for them. Well, this robot will think faster than humans. That is the second one. But the third one is augmented. And augmented can be just best described by a debate that was had between Jack Ma and Elon Musk, where they were talking about the possibility of a singularity where a computer could think faster than humans and eventually would take certain positions from humans. And Elon Musk believes that the singularity is a danger to humanity, if not just to the economy by purging millions of jobs that would be eliminated in the white collar sector, the same way that jobs were eliminated by the first AI, which is automated. But Jack Ma said AI is like a car. So you don't race a car, you get in it and you drive it. So I look at AI just like the Texas Instrument calculators that we used in calculus class. What we want to do is look at the first of all, look at the case studies of how they're being used, and then look at the innovations that can be built on top of it.
Yeah.
Because you have a concept of AI now, but that does not mean it is what it will be. Because many people will see it, and all of us will see different ways that we can use this bag of Legos. And I would refer to uh, Bill Gates uh, quote, excuse me, Bill Gates quote that he had when he spoke about his fear of innovation. He said he did not fear corporations. He feared the kid that was in the garage that no one knew about because he was that kid. And I look forward to seeing the innovations that will come from not only our platform, but how people will use AI, not only in the two ways that they're being used, but in the ways that we do not know. I do not
Mm.
believe there will be a singularity because humans learn from where they are. Our children will look at AI and they will learn from where AI is, and they will come up with innovations from that stage. But it is on us to set that stage so that they have the equal opportunity and access to bring those innovations to the market.
Yeah. No, such a great point. And I love the three ways that you described AI, and you can definitely see that in the world that we have right now. And one of the things we always talk about on the show is like AI is not meant to replace jobs. It is meant
Mm.
to make people more efficient and effective in the jobs that they have. Now it's up to us as the people who, have the jobs, so to speak, the duties and the roles, to understand how to utilize AI appropriately and efficiently and effectively, and not let robots take over the world or anything like that. But it
Mm.
really is on us. So that's so exciting to be able to think about what's possible. So let's focus on AEN. What do you feel like is going to come up in the next 6 to 12 months for you? What are your business goals and dreams of if you could create the perfect business? What would it be for AEN?
Well, actually, it's a very exciting time for AEN. It's a challenging time for everyone. We are being hit with the tsunami, that tidal wave of inflation, and the tariffs haven't even kicked in yet. For us, when we look at that, we see opportunity because we have a tool that can help people. Now, in the next 12 months, we fully expect to be fully integrated with the municipality program that we've already started with our collaboration and expanding into other municipalities. With the data volume that will be brought in, that will allow us to allow other members to create innovations and also to bring forth their projects that they have, such as one I was meeting with the a shelter board here in Franklin County, and they were talking about the lack of resources that are coming from the cuts and grants. The plan that we have for the nonprofits is to offer a resource which can counterbalance that loss, and beyond that, give the nonprofits and businesses access to a resource that creates value that they control. Now, think of that in terms of this. None of us control inflation. None of us do. This is something that we have to deal with as a structure of the financial system based on debt. This is something that we have to deal with. Now, a lot of people know that the way to deal with that to offset it is to invest and then find alpha wherever they can so that they can offset that. But that is risk. And as you know, in the securities market, as well as any other the organized investment markets, they tell you that past performance is no guarantee of future results. So with our system, because we deal with the live data without speculation, we can give people the ability to access a guaranteed assured value because they are producing the product. Now, with our tools, we're able to match them with the value that comes from their data. So all they have to do is plug and play. Now, in the next 12 months, we expect the market for what we do to scale exponentially as inflation increases. And that is because we're plugging in to different organizations which already have clientele and members and also employees that need this assistance. This will allow businesses to give expense accounts to every one of their employees and also to monetize that data without personal data, only categorical data. They'll be able to monetize the data of their employees through their expenses by giving them assistance to help them pay and also by generating value from those data blocks. So if I run a tow truck company, I have 14 trucks, 14 drivers. I can, number one, give my 14 drivers expense accounts to help them with their personal expenses. Number two, monetize the data from those transactions. And number three, use the same service to offset the expenses that it takes to run my company. Meaning if my tow trucks need new tires, I can monetize that expense. If I need to buy a new truck, I can monetize that expense. If I need to move to a new location, I can monetize that expense. And that is not only for uh, uh, physical companies, but also for meta companies as well. Because as data increases, that means access to that value will also increase. What we want to do is make sure that the everyday common person has access to this value so that they have a tool to be able to deal with the economic headwinds that we will all face coming in the near future.
Wow, that is amazing, especially when you start thinking about what it can mean for businesses. That could be like the new HR packet, right? Of, just having that be part of the benefits. So I love this. Thank you so much for opening our eyes to what is possible with your incredible service. So if people are watching this and they want to connect with you, obviously they can go to aensellmybills.com. But any other way that they can connect with you?
Yes, you can go to the website, but you can also go. I will give my email. You can reach out to my email. My email is ali.cannon72 at yahoo.com. You can also go to the AEN Share My Bills and go to the Contact Us page, put any inquiries there. We'll put you on the mailing list, let you know when our workshops, the next workshops, you can come and participate. We have in person workshops as well as online. And we're also finishing our video tutorials. So that will also be available as well.
Awesome. That sounds wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Ali. I really appreciate your time today. And yeah, that's a wrap on this episode of the Mastering AI Momentum Show. Thank you, Ali, for being here today.
Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. You have a good and wonderful week. And I hope that everyone pays attention to your service and what could be offered. And if you have ideas, this is not the time to be shy. Bring those ideas forward because we all need everyone's help, and any innovation you have may just be the key that we all need. Thank you very much.
Exactly. Absolutely. And if you want to learn more about the incredible AI agents that we can build for you, just check out m2aiagency.com. Until then, stay curious, stay resourceful, and keep building your momentum one system at a time. Thanks for watching, guys.
You've been listening to Mastering AI Momentum. If today's episode gave you clarity or sparked a breakthrough, share it, review it, leave us a comment, and show Ali and Elise how you're turning AI into ROI. And make sure you subscribe, because the next episode could be the strategy that unlocks your next level. Until then, build smart, scale fast, and let AI multiply your momentum.